talking about, okay? We can use social media tools now to publish that content in a lot of different places, in a lot of different ways. So we are self-publishers. We're our own publisher. I give the example at lunch. Who knows where the first picture of the plane that crashed on the Hudson River came from? Came from TwitPics, okay? Twitter. It's citizen journalism, reporting, hey, there's a plane in the Hudson. I'm on a ferry. We're going to pick up passengers. It's kind of weird, right? Very weird. And the whole social media thing really is all about engagement, okay? You want to engage with your key audiences. You want to have, and this is important too. It is just as much about listening as it is about telling. In fact, I believe public relations is more about listening than it is telling. All right, so I want you to understand this concept too. Inbound marketing. For these things I've talked about, self-publishing, it's inbound marketing. Driving traffic to your specific site, whether it's a newsroom, whether it's a blog, corporate web page, the Facebook page, it's how you drive traffic, okay? Who's your dad? If there's another concept that I'd like you to take away, the home page that I talked about here really isn't your home page any longer. Any ideas what that home page is? Well, I can tell you, Google's your daddy, okay? Almost 3/4 of internet searches are done on Google. And if you can manage the content that shows up on the first page of Google, then you're doing good. You'll be doing good in MSN and Yahoo and all those other places. So pay attention to what keywords of yours are showing up on Google, okay? And how much of that content is yours. You want to test it out? Go to Google and type in Pete Codella and see how many of the sites are mine. Who can tell me what the Google Golden Triangle is? You guys are quiet.
Top 3.
Yeah, that's right. So the Golden Triangle is this area right here. You're all familiar with the search, paid search, right? Up here you're paying quite a bit. Over here you could be paying, quarters or dollar or whatever. So paid search. Studies have been done to focus, to see where people's eyes focus on the screen. Guess where they focus? Right here. They look at this area first. They know that these are ads. And you know what? Ads are intrusive, and people pay more attention to social networks and word of mouth than an advertisement. Sorry, any advertising majors. I think advertising has a place, but this is what people pay attention to. So, your goal, communicators, PR students, whoever, is to control as much of this content as possible. All right. So this brings, we just had Easter, those of you who celebrate Easter. If an egg was a piece of information, okay, how many baskets would you want that information to be in? Just one basket is full? As many baskets as possible, right? Definitely. So look, don't put all your eggs in one basket, even though I do have eggs in one basket. Do you mind, Amanda? Just a little afternoon pick-me-up, some chocolate eggs. Here's another idea of the same concept. If you really, really, really wanted to win the lottery, how many tickets would you buy? A lot, right? Not just one ticket. So many people, and this is kind of the old way of thinking. We've got to get this awesome story out. How are we going to do it? Let's write a press release and fax it to the newsroom. Cool. All right, that's one ticket. Big deal. And now there are so many other tools that you can use. Anyone read this book? Anyone like meatballs? Anyone like ice cream sundaes? Anyone like them together? Kind of weird, right? You can have some great ideas, some great tools, but when you combine them, it's just like, this doesn't really work. Okay? Kind of the idea behind this book. So, in your marketing, you have ideas that don't really work well together. Again, this goes back to strategy. Don't just do it to do it for the sake of doing it. My father is Italian. My great-grandfather came from Italy. He and I share the same name and the same birthday, actually. I had a birthday last week, so kind of cool. But in my family, we like to cook. And some of my best memories growing up are with my grandfather, Angelo, cooking cheesecakes and figuring out how to make them so they don't crack on the top, and I can eat way too much cheesecake. It's a good thing we moved away from living next to the Cheesecake Factory in Henderson. But I also like to make lasagna. My lasagna is different from most lasagnas that I find in restaurants. I just have a particular way that I like it to taste. So I usually won't order lasagna because I'm inevitably disappointed, at an Italian restaurant. Does that mean my lasagna is bad and theirs is good, or theirs is bad and mine's good? Not necessarily. There are differences, okay? But the differences aren't necessarily bad. In social media, there are differences in how you can utilize the tools. There is not one magic bullet. There's no way that I could put a social media package together and go to every company and say, this is what you need to do. But the strategy behind it and the idea behind how you use the tools does apply. So you need to be creative and look for that engagement in how you use the tools. Okay? Again, one organization's plan does not look like another's. This concept I've mentioned a lot. Just because it's there doesn't mean you don't have to use it. And the concept I want to share is, just because television came around, radio didn't disappear. Right? So just because social media has come around, I don't believe the traditional things that are going to disappear. It's just as important, especially in your schooling, that you have that foundation in your practice, in what you do. It's like this. What do you want to accomplish? Not what do you want to do? Okay? Think of, I don't know how many of you may have gone on a mission, or may be married, or used to have meetings with your family where you talk about vacation plans or whatever. If all you talk about is, what are we doing this week? This week we're going to do this and this and this and this. And you're just looking at this week. The weeks are going to go by. You may not have accomplished any goal. If you decide this year our family's going to go on an awesome 2-week vacation to Disney World, each week you're going to plan things that are going to lead you that direction. Like maybe not spending as much money or things like that. So it's more a strategic approach as opposed to a tactical approach. How many of you are familiar with the story of Alice in Wonderland? And she asked the Cheshire Cat, which path should I take? What does the cat say? Where do you want to go? And she says, I don't know, not sure. So the cat says, it doesn't really matter which path you take, then does it? Okay? That same concept applies to what we're talking about here with communication. Your golden child, in my experience, the golden child to this communication and this online presence, this social media, I think is so important to any effective public relations campaign, advertising campaign, marketing campaign, any kind of communication that you're going to do. I believe the new model is that it incorporates some aspect of social media. I haven't found an instance yet when the social media did not help. And these terms, I've mentioned them a little bit, but they're interchangeable to me. They mean a little bit of a different thing. Search engine optimization is about kind of the coding, how you develop and create a website so that it's optimized for the web, okay, so that you show up as high as possible on search. Search engine marketing is a real similar term, and it applies to marketing to what's going on online. Are you marketing your things, your products, your services, so that it appears at the top of Google search? And inbound marketing we talked about, driving traffic to all those different sites. And again, put your eggs. Where are the eggs? Where are the chocolate eggs? Are you guys eating